Good evening po. Magandang gabi sa inyong lahat. Welcome to Lira and Law on our usual Thursday get together. Oh gosh, ano tayo ngayon, no? End of September na tayo. Ang bilis-bilis ng panahon. Ang bilis. Anyway, I'm not gonna moan to you too much, no, about how time is flying. Ang pangalan ko po, I mustn't forget to introduce myself at least. Ang pangalan ko po, Lira Simong Kabatbat. I am your host tonight at Lira in Law. As I say, our usual Thursday get-together between 7:30 and 8:30 p.m. Thank you very much for joining me. Always a pleasure to be here. Now, ang dami po natin mga questions nga ngayon. And thank you again for all of you who've sent in your questions nga. And it's also still not too late. Kung meron ka mga questions, you want me to deal with it, I will try. Even at this late stage, just send in your Oh, sorry. Hopefully, that did not put you off. My apologies. I have, you know how it is with live, Yung problema. You can tell we are on live because we're having to deal with internet issues also. Anyway, it just makes it a bit more challenging and hopefully a little bit more interesting, But anyway, tonight po, as usual, ang dami nating mga questions. And as I've said, not too late to put in your questions. And please do say hello, Batiin nyo ko. That's my favorite part, Now, I'm giving you fair warning. If suddenly the internet, our connection breaks again, don't go away. Because I'll log back in and we'll try and, of course, continue with our show. Anyway, without further ado, as I say, let's have a look at our question, our star question, and therefore our topic. Okay, before I get cut off again. So ito pong question natin, yeah. So ito, so hi attorney, sabi niya, hi attorney Lira. I've been in the UK on the spouse visa for almost 5 years now, and I'm preparing to apply for indefinite leave to remain. However, I had to go back to the Philippines last year when my father passed away. Sorry, my condolences. And I stayed there for almost 5 months. I also recently started a part-time job while taking care of my 2 children. I'm worried if my long absence and my current work situation will affect my ILR, indefinite leave to remain application. Can I still qualify? And what documents should I prepare to strengthen my case? Great question. Because it's again a very relevant scenario. It's an issue. It's a situation actually that I come across fairly regularly, So thank you very much for this question. So ang topic po natin nga ngayon using this question is applying for indefinite leave to remain as a spouse, or rather what problems could you possibly encounter. So titingnan po natin yung tanong nga niya, pera, and what can you do, what evidence can you put forward to strengthen your case nga, and of course this issue of absence. The absence particularly is a very popular issue that's raised with me all the time because the visa is for 2.5 years nga unang-una as a spouse, and in that time things happen, and in this case unfortunately yung kaibigan natin, viewer nga natin, sabi niya namatay yung tatay niya. So course, she had to spend a bit of time nga doon. So, anyway, yung pong topic natin nga ngayon. So, it's a great question nga as usual. And so, hopefully, you'll be able to stay with me, to go through it. And we have other questions. We have follow-up questions from last week, and we're going to, of course, deal with that. So, hopefully, oh, there, I'm back. It's making me, the internet is making my life a bit challenging tonight. No, it's probably thinking, oh well, no, it's the evening. I'll take, I'll challenge, and I'll challenge Lira. Anyway, so hopefully I don't disappear again. But if I do, don't turn off. No, I will be back, as they say. As he says. Now, so yun po ang topic natin mamaya, o ngayon, no? And we're going to unpack that quite a bit. And of course, we're going to be dealing also with the other questions na. And of course, don't forget yung batian section natin nga mamaya. Now, we're going to take a quick break. Hopefully, I'll be right back, no? It's subject to the God of Internet nga. So, saglit nga lang po, I'll be right back, hopefully. Oh, I'm sorry. You caught me off guard. I was looking at my connection. Am I off again? I'm on at the moment, so let me crack on. Welcome back. we're back on. I better race through in case we get cut off again. I'm so sorry. Thank you for putting up nga with that. We have technical glitches nga at the moment, so hopefully will not plague us, for the whole of the show. But we'll push through it as we normally do, Now, question po natin ngayon, o start topic, ang topic po natin ngayon, pursuant to the question, is applying for indefinite leave to remain as a spouse, or rather the common problems that you would encounter nga. So yung question po niya, nung viewer natin, sabi niya dito, maglilimang taon na siya dito, so close to the 5 years needed for indefinite leave to remain. Umuwi siya sa atin last year dahil namatay ang tatay niya. Nandun siya for about 5 months. Part-time nga siya dito. Meron siyang anak, 2. Nag-alala siya that her long absence, the 5 months absence from the UK and her current work situation may be back. Oh, I am back. As if by magic. This is really challenging. So let me crack on, and let's see if so the questions she had are really relevant questions. So una, so there are 2 things na titingnan natin maigi. And they are financial considerations and of course this absence nga, no? Now, just very briefly, let me summarize to you what you need to show in order to succeed with an application or make an application nga as a spouse. So unang-una, dumating siya dito, presumably as a spouse or partner. You don't have to be married to come under the partner route, by the way. So nandito siya as a spouse. Maglilimang taon na siya dito, which means that she entered the UK, got an extension of her visa. In the meantime, nandito na yung mga bata. Either pinanganak sila dito o pinanganak sila sa atin. Dinala siya nga silang 2 dito. And then, now, maglilimang taon na siya. But other things have happened in the meantime. That is, namatay yung tatay niya, nandun siya sa atin for 5 months. And the income, she has a part-time job. How will that affect it? So, una po, yung nga, the absence, okay? Now, this is a usual, if you like, issue that's raised, and people often get it wrong. Actually, there's nothing under Appendix FM, and that's the provision that deals with spousal applications, partner applications. Now, nothing in Appendix FM says that you cannot be absent for more than 180 days, which of course applies to a lot of types of visas, no? So, but kung spouse visa ka dito, kung partner visa ka, there's actually no limit as such, no? It doesn't mean that the reality is you can just leave the country and then come back, after 2 years nga. Because of this. Now, paragraph, if you want to look it up, it's under Appendix FM nga, paragraph E, that's eligibility, LTRP 1.10. Let me just read to you that very briefly. And sabi nga dito, the applicant and their partner must intend to live together permanently in the United Kingdom. And in any application for further leave to remain as a partner, okay, and in any application for indefinite leave to remain as a partner, the applicant must provide that since entry clearance as a partner was granted, or since the last grant of limited leave to remain, the applicant and their partner have lived together in the UK, or there's a good reason consistent with a continuing intention to live together permanently in the UK for any period in which they have not done so. Clear as mud, no? But the overriding word used there is permanent, no? You must intend to live permanently in the United Kingdom. Now, kung wala ka dito, lagi, so sabihin natin dumating ka, labas ka, lagi ka nasa labas, you and your spouse, or just you. It could be that doubts are then expressed as to whether you actually intend to permanently live in the United Kingdom. Now, that can also apply even if you are here, even if you're absent for less than 180 days. You know? But in her case, of course, 5 months nga in the Philippines. So, so although there's no 180-day rule, okay, unlike oh, we're back on again. It's just, I tell you what, the internet causing me issues. So let me race through the question. Start question pa natin, no? Now, so ito, you need to be able to show that you intend to live permanently in the United Kingdom. Kung wala kayo lagi dito, then there may be doubts expressed even if you have been in the UK or been absent less than 180 days. And the longer someone is away from the United Kingdom, probably the more doubtful they would be. You know? It's actually 5 months is actually not too bad. And meron ka namang rason eh. So I'll get to what evidence you need to put forward in a moment. Yeah. So make sure oh, we're back. My goodness me, excuse me. It's a bit of a roller coaster, no? Anyway, the technology is not on my side nga tonight. Anyway, I was saying, so importante po, mapapakita nyo that you intend to actually permanently live in the United Kingdom. So yun ang una. Now, ang pangalawang question, so no 180 days. So 5 months is of course within the 180 days. So I wouldn't necessarily worry about the 180 days because it's not actually part of the Appendix FM. But that does not mean that you should simply ignore it. You should deal with it. And I'll tell you in a moment why. Now, pangalawa mong question, Oh, I'm back. I'm back. Anyway, I got a bit excited there. Now let me rush through this then before I get cut off again. So okay, we're back on. Now, I hope don't get cut off again. If we do, no, I promise I will not, I won't dodge the topic. I will deal with it next week if we get cut off again. So bear with me. Hopefully we won't, but failing that, we'll deal with the topic and any questions now next week in anticipation of potential problems. Okay, so pera, no? Sabi nga niya, part-time nga siya dito, would that also affect her application for indefinite leave to remain? Now, dahil 5 taon ka na nga dito, you should still come under the old rule. No? So, as you probably know, in December 2023, the minimum income requirement for spouses, for partners nga, went up from 18,600 plus any element for children to 29,000 pounds. So those people coming into the United Kingdom na nga ngayon, they need to satisfy the 29,000 pounds. But ikaw, because you've been here for 5 years, and obviously before December 2023, you should still be bound by the lower minimum income requirement, which is 18,600 pounds. Having said that, sabi mo sa akin, meron kang 2 anak. That means that if they came with you, so dun sila pinanganak nga sa atin, and hindi nga sila British, no? Then that means that there's a child element. So kailangan mong dagdagan yung 18,600 by 3,800 for your first child and 2,400 pounds for your second child. So sa'yo, your income requirement is therefore 24,800 pounds, so inclusive of the 2 children nga. Now, how do you satisfy that income? Because you are here in the UK, meron kang visa, pwede kang magtrabaho, yung part-time mo, kahit hindi nga sapat yung pera mo, sasabihin natin ng income mo, 10,000 pounds, no? Tapos, ang kailangan mong pakita is 24,800. Siguro, no? O at least 18,600. Pwede mong idagdag yung income mo dun sa income ng asawa mo. So together, if you satisfy the minimum income requirement, hindi yung problema. Okay? So the fact that you own part-time employment, hindi nga yung problema. As long as you can satisfy nga either the 18,000. Okay, can you? I hope that you can. Okay, so let me just check if I can Oh, apparently, oh, that can be seen. I'm back. I'm so excited. Thank you very much for waiting for me. Technical problems, folks, unfortunately. Now, what I was saying is that yung 18,600, kumplito naman yung bata, mga bata nyo, in which case there's no need to add them, to the equation nga. Otherwise, if they're not British, then you need to be able to unang-una, in relation to the income, make sure you explain it, no? Part-time umpisa mong pangalang, but the income of your partner is okay, is compliant. If it's not compliant, so it's under either 18,600 or 24,800 pounds, depending on whether the children need to be taken into account. If it's not compliant, then you should make representations that there are exceptional circumstances nga. And that would be that maybe he was made redundant recently, or his hours have been cut back, and in any event now you're working up, but you haven't been working that long, not the usual 6 months na kailangan nga nila. So explain that. And meron na kayong mga bata so it's very likely that the Home Office will probably say yes, there are exceptional circumstances, not least because of the children. Now, what else can you do, especially nga dealing with that with the absence nga, 5 months in the Philippines? Prepare a statement, okay? With a lot of applications that I submit, I prepare statements for my client. I explain there ano bang sitwasyon nga nila. And then you explain nga there what had happened. Padala mo din yung death certificate ng tatay mo, and that you had to be there nga to attend the funeral and deal with other other probate issues, for example, nga nung namatay nga siya. So explain that. You will find that should not be an issue, no, to stop you from getting a indefinite leave to remain. But explain it, because there's no 180-day limit. But as I say, it is important that you're able to show that you have permanency in the UK. And sabihin mo nga doon, yung mga bata especially, hindi ko alam, hindi mo sinabi dito kung ilang taong nga sila. But if they're going to school, for example, say, no, you definitely are settled in the UK, the children are settled here, nag-aaral sila dito, or they're in nursery, or you're in part-time work. So it's for you to tell them anong sitwasyon nyo. It should be fine in relation to the absence, okay? For indefinite leave to remain. I can't, it hopefully will not be an issue. That hindi naman, it's not a holiday you went there for because your father had passed away. I think the Home Office will probably consider that one of the situations where they would not regard the absence as evidence that you're no longer permanently resident in the United Kingdom. More tricky is the issue of income mo, no? So make sure that, as I say, either 18,600, that is because the children are British, or indeed it's 24,800 because it's under the old law. It's probably unlikely that you come under the new law, which is £29,000, because you've been here already 5 years, and that new law only came into effect in December 2023. Okay, so hopefully that's of help to you. But tip ko, prepare a statement. It doesn't have to be a long statement. Sabihin nyo nga lang doon, anong sitwasyon nyo. And don't forget to sign the statement, okay? And include things nga like your father's death certificate. Now, don't forget, there are other things na kailangan mo pakita. So in order to obtain indefinite leave to remain as a spouse, kailangan nyo pakita na, of course, the relationship is genuine, which should not be a problem because you have 2 children. Kailangan mo din gawin yung Life in the UK test, no? Which is a bit harder than the B1. So kung ako ikaw, umpisa mo na yung Life in the UK, especially meron kang mga alaga mo, yung mga bata, at saka you have part-time work, and of course there are other things that you know that you're dealing with nga. So start it now. Don't leave it to the last minute, the Life in the UK test, no? Because that's the harder one of the 2. At the moment, it's a B1, that's an English language test. In the future, probably in the near future, that may go up from B1 to B2. At the moment, B1 pa rin. So the 2 things that you need to be able to provide: Life in the UK test certificate, pass of course, and the B1, okay, the English language nga. And as I've said, financial conditions. Don't forget, with the financial conditions, kailangan nyo din pakita not just income but also accommodation, no? Na meron kayong tinitirhan. It doesn't have to be, you don't even need to own the place. It can be rented nga, but it must be sufficient for you, your husband, and your 2 children. So you're probably looking at, kung bata pa yung mga bata, then you're probably looking at least 2 bedrooms, okay? But it's also important that that's satisfied. People always forget there are 2 prongs to the financial requirement, and they are the issue of income, you know, which is what everyone worries about, but there's also the issue of accommodation. That's the second prong of the financial requirement. So hopefully that's of help to you, and that that you're able to get your indefinite leave to remain. By the way, kung sabi mo nga dito, no, I think you said here that your husband is your spouse is British, or am I just making that up? Anyway, kung asawa mo, sorry, you didn't say, it was an assumption on my part. So kung ang asawa mo ay Briton rather than indefinite leave to remain dito, Briton siya, that means that once you get indefinite leave to remain, you can make an application immediately. You don't need to wait the usual 1 year. When you can make an application for naturalization. Okay, naturalization is of course the prelude to getting a British passport. There you need to again look at the issue of absences from the United Kingdom, but we're back on. Okay, we're back on. I get about a minute, so and then we're cut off again. Now, if we're cut off again, because I know you're probably finding it as annoying as I'm finding it, don't despair. What we'll do is we'll save whatever questions nga I've not dealt with tonight for next week because I don't want to also rush it. No, ayoko madaliin nga kayo. Now, so we've dealt with the topic nga natin. We have some questions. Okay, some great questions nga. So let me just see if I can bring up. Hopefully, I can bring up the next question. So sabi niya dito. Okay. Right. This is the old. And this was our star question nga. Okay, so itong second question nga natin. Actually, this was a follow-up from last week, no? So last week question niya, I hope you can assist me with my case. I'm a Filipina currently residing in Manila, sabi niya dito. So this was the issue of the probate nga, no? So sabi niya, unfortunately, my husband passed away without leaving a will. He left behind an inheritance from his mother, a property which has since been converted into cash. I'm now contesting my rights to this inheritance and currently dealing with solicitors in London. I'm asserting that UK intestacy law should apply in accordance with Philippine law. However, my late husband's eldest daughter and solicitors are claiming that Philippine intestacy law should govern the matter. I have consulted several lawyers in Manila. All of them are in agreement that UK intestacy law applies in this situation. I've been actively searching for a Filipino solicitor based in London who may be able to assist or guide me. I came across your name through Google. Oh, thank goodness for Google. I would be grateful for any help or advice you could provide regarding my case. Follow-up question niya, no? Ito, just shows you, no? Thank you very much for watching, no? So sabi niya dito, hi Attorney Lira, sabi niya, I'd like to add that my husband doesn't own any property in Manila because I assumed that you're talking about a property nga in the Philippines and we don't have children here, sabi niya. His inheritance, which is in London, has already been converted into cash. I'm wondering if Philippine law still applies in this situation. I have more questions and I'm willing to hear your advice again next Friday, 2 a.m. So because of course sa atin, no, madaling araw. So particularly thank you for watching if you're in the Philippines nga, no, because it's madaling araw nga sa atin. My husband was previously divorced and his ex is remarried. They had a matrimonial home during their marriage. Alam ko, malabo na yung habulin because I'm in Manila. All I want is malaman ko if the solicitor is telling me the truth. Now, it's terribly, it can be terribly confusing ito because it's unang-una, it's a matter of jurisdiction, no? Kung minana niya, then so if it's inheritance he received, no, then really the jurisdiction would be from the estate. So kung galing sa nanay niya, then it will be the jurisdiction from mom, no, of mom, kung galing nga doon. So that's the first step, really, is the issue of jurisdiction. And I think ito, you're obviously getting, quite different and conflicting advice. Why don't you do this? Because I must admit, I'm a bit confused as regards the facts of the case. I know a little bit more about it now, but if you email me, what any other questions you may have, and ang gagawin ko, let me have a look. But I warn you, Philippine law is not my jurisdiction. But if the jurisdiction, of course, is here, no, English law applies, then of course that's something I can advise you on. But as a starting point, I think it's become confused, the issue of jurisdiction. So if you email me your follow-up questions, let me see what I can do in order to see if one can clarify. So thank you for nevertheless not tuning in. I know you're watching, and I hope this on and off internet connection has not been off-putting for you. But so I'm not happy to deal with the questions, but I think for the purposes of tonight, I think we need to just establish una nga, what are the facts. So stay tuned on this one, but afterwards, okay? So let me just have a look if there are other questions. I'm sure there are. So sabi niya dito, okay. Hi, Attorney Lira. Sabi niya, I just arrived in the UK on a skilled worker visa. I want to know if I lose my job. Oh my gosh, you are not very hopeful. No. Before my visa expires, do I need to leave the UK immediately? What options do I have to stay legally? And can I switch to another type of visa while I'm still here? Yes, you probably can. Yung nga, so you if you're here on a skilled work visa, which sabi mo nga you are, then you should be able to switch to another skilled work visa, depending, of course, on the type of employment that you have, and that should still count actually towards your counting towards your indefinite leave to remain, which usually is 5 years. That may increase to 10 years soon, but at the moment nga 5 years pa nga rin. So you can, as long as you have a sponsor, and that sponsor is licensed nga, and they will give you a certificate of sponsorship. So you should still be able to switch depending on type of visa you have from a skilled work to another skilled work, as long as yung sasalo sa'yo, meron nga silang lisensya dito. Not just a license as license that you to as in job, but license from the home office, a sponsorship license po ang tawag. Okay. And of course, if in the meantime also you meet someone and you decide actually you want to formalize your relationship, or you're living together for more than 2 years, you can in some cases swap over the a skilled work visa to that of a partner visa, to that of a spouse. So there are ways nga. I hope you don't lose your job, no? But I can see you're probably a little bit like me, I like to plan. I am and sometimes people think that that's being pessimistic, but I do like to plan. No, a lot of my clients will attest to this. That I always say, okay, itong plan A natin, plan B. So I can see where you're coming from. Hopefully that is of help to you. Now, let's have a look. I'm sure we have other questions. I'm rushing because in case we get cut off again, I don't trust my internet connection. So sabi niya dito, okay, question ito. Hi, Attorney Lira. Sabi niya, I'm a Filipino living in the UK and recently separated from my British spouse. We have a 6-year-old child together, and my spouse is now threatening to file for sole custody. I'm currently on a spouse visa that depends on our marriage, and I'm worried I might lose my right to stay in the UK if we divorce. What are my rights as the child's mother? And is it possible to secure custody or shared parental responsibility even if my visa status changes? Can I also switch to a visa based on my child? Great question. Because this packs in quite a lot of things. Hindi nga lang yung immigration, but a big chunk of it is, of course, family law. So, unang-una, if your child may well be British, no? I don't know. You don't actually say. Can't add it to the other one. But you can change potentially under the parent group. Now, kung hindi siya British, so dumating ka nga dito, kasama mo siya, ang visa mo, same as your child, that is, it will also expire sa kanya nga. Then nevertheless, you can still make an application for leave to remain in the UK based on your Okay, we're back on. My gosh. Okay. Um, anyway, so it's a great question. I'm sorry we got cut off in the middle. So una nga ito. It could be ang question mo, can you still stay in the UK based on your relationship with your daughter? Potentially, absolutely. There, kung British nga siya, you can see about swapping under the parent route. Okay. Kung hindi nga siya British, and because she was born and in the Philippines, hindi pa British at the time, yung asawa mo nga, she enters the United Kingdom not as a British citizen, but rather as dependent. So she would have a visa like that will expire same as you. In that case, you can still make an application based on family life nga in the UK, and there will likely be exceptional circumstances. So it's possible, nevertheless, to change over from a spouse visa to that, of course, of your relationship with your daughter. If there are issues of domestic violence, that is also a route nga, the DV route, the domestic violence route nga. But I hope that you have not been subjected to domestic violence. Now, so it's a possibility is the answer. Let's have a look though a little bit about family, no, or family law. Sabi mo nga dito, you make reference to sole custody and also shared parental responsibility. Now, the terminology custody, indeed sole custody nga, that went back in the 1990s. Ang tawag na nga ngayon, child arrangement order, and specifically, if it's question of residence of the child, it's a live-with order. And that's what your lawyer will tell you nga. Yes, absolutely. You can still make an application, or you can defend an application, a live-with order, a child arrangement application for the child to live with him, yung asawa mo. You can defend that and make a counterclaim that the child should live with you. Okay? And if the child is 6, you've been caring for the child for most of her life, then your chances are, regardless of your immigration, quite good. Okay, but the two should go in tandem. Yeah. So if you're making if you're no longer in a relationship, then you can make an application to vary your visa to that under the parent route, and at the same time either defend or make an application for under the for child arrangement order that the child, your daughter, live with you. Okay, so it's a live-with order. Now, the parental responsibility, sinasabi mo nga dito, that's something you automatically have as a mom. Okay, so mothers automatically have parental responsibility from birth. Okay, fathers have parental responsibility if they're either married to you, which I suspect you are here. Nga, sabi mo nga when to the mother when the child is born, or if they're named on the birth certificate if they're not married. Now, unmarried fathers can gain PR, parental responsibility, through a formal agreement, with the mother, or a court order. So you don't need to worry about making an application for PR, parental responsibility, because you already have that. You do need to see if you need to either make an application for live-with order, child arrangement order nga, or indeed defend it. Okay, and if you defend it, then you probably want to also put in an application yourself that the child lives with you. But you should do that alongside an application to vary your visa to that from a spouse to that of your on the basis of your relationship nga with your child. So hopefully that is of help to you. Now, before I get cut off again, and I'm well aware that I haven't said hello. I'm missing the best bit. Well, the bit I like best. That is to say hello to the people that are kindly taking their time to say hello to me. But unfortunately, I'm likely to get cut off again. So if you are logged on and you're watching, and it's hopefully you're not too disappointed. Oh, we're back on. Just in time for me to say I was just apologizing. I'm so sorry I can't say hello back to those people kindly saying hello. Please, tune back in next week with your hellos, huh? And I promise I will do it twice. Okay. And before the powers that be of the internet cut me off again, I will say good night. Salamat, salamat po for putting up with me in the